Hello everyone, Gomez here again for the LAN Update with more card reveals this evening. Obviously we got a champion last night, a magnificent champion in Time Wizard. So I'm not expecting a champion tonight, I'm expecting other cards, but I just want to see them. I want to know what they're going to do, whether or not they're going to allude to any other kind of things we're going to be seeing for the two other champions. But anyway, without further ado, let's just get into this! So I was hoping for a little video, because sometimes they do these little videos, but it looks like it's just going to be finishing. But Cytherea, it's mentioning which like Cytherea's moving up in the world. Obviously we can see her in the background, but I believe she's going to be on the next set of cards, because it's two lots of cards. Let's get into them one by one. So this is showing all different cards, like the cards that we're getting for like each kind of region, kind of thing, like apart from like the major regions, which are getting champions. So let's just very quickly let's touch on all these things. So number one, it's massively look like we're going to be getting Pike. It's massively look like we're going to be getting Pike in Bilgewater with the new Bilgewater cards that are just here. So just by the looks of the cards and Bone Skewer. So 2 mana fast speed, which is an ally strikes an enemy, then moves to the top of your deck. Right. An ally strikes an enemy, then moves to the top of your deck. What does that mean? An ally strikes an enemy, then moves to the top of your deck. What by that I mean? So does it mean that the other copies of that ally, one copy moves to the top of the deck, or does it mean that you strike and then that card that's just struck then gets cycled? You know, like how like the shuffle happens. So does it get shuffled back and it will instantly be on top of your deck? I'm assuming that's what it means. So it gets a strike off, and then it goes to the top of your deck. So it's kind of like a single combat, but losing tempo. Because you are striking, it strikes the enemy, probably killing the enemy. But I should state, it's not like single combat, because single combat makes two things happen, whereas this is strikes. This is like a 2 mana concerted strike slash bloody business. So it's striking, but not taking the damage itself. So it's striking, then moving to the top of your deck. So it goes boom. Like this, in my head, this is how I read this card, how it seems like it's going to be, is that for 2 mana, it strikes, could kill something, and then you're losing the tempo because it's going to be ripped and put, shuffled to the top of your deck. But there are a number of cards in Bilgewater that you kind of might want to use again. Like, if we are going to be saying that, like, we might be seeing Pike, elements of Pike and whatnot, and the fact that we are assuming that they're going to be working with vulnerable. There's certain cards whereby they create vulnerable, or they can, like, hired gun or the sheriff, like cards like such as this, whereby they will strike, do their damage, and then shuffle, and then you can play them again. There's certain, like, that's what I'm reading from that card. I want to know more about Bone Skewer, but there is definitely certain things, and definitely cards that you could synergize with Bilgewater, whereby you want to be getting that multiple value. It does kind of mean that you're cutting down on a draw on yourself, because it means that you will be drawing the same thing that you've already just had, but it depends on how powerful that unit is and how powerful its replay ability really is. And obviously it depends on what kind of deck you're running. You might already be running enough draw. So if you're running like a Twisted Fate or something, you might be running enough draw that you're willing to accept that loss of tempo for an immediate strike. But it's fast speed, it's good removal and striking from Bilgewater, because we haven't actually seen much strike synergy from Bilgewater. So this is actually a little bit whereby, boom, it's doing a strike. It is removing tempo by the sounds of things, but it's actually like in an interesting way. I don't mind it. So the other Bilgewater card is Monster Harpoon. Deal 5 damage to a unit. Plunder. I cost 3 less. So that is actually quite a nice card, because for the potential of 3 mana, deal 5 damage, it's not actually, in terms of value, that's not actually that bad. And running the right deck, where you're running Plunder stuff, where you're running kind of warning shot, parlay, those are the words, or if you were to, like, say, synergize this with P&Z, where you're running like a number of things, or anything which can do damage, like even Noxian and running the old 1-cost blade, kind of like, you know, type thing. There is definitely ways to do it where you can hit into that core and then instantly getting 5 damage for 3 cost. That's like, you know, and even if you were forced into paying 6 cost for 5 damage, it's not what you want to be doing, but it is definitely good for remove. So it's actually good to see some straight up removal, like, because I know that, like, people say, well, Bilgewater's got a lot of good removal. It's got, like, a Riptide Rex. Number one, you got to get there. Number two, you've got to actually activate that Plunder to activate Riptide Rex. It's got Make It Rain, which is, again, really good removal for things that have got 1 health, but it's randomized, so it's one of those kind of things. And I guess there is, like, the straight up 7 damage or whatever it is, but it forces you to have to toss 3 of your cards, and there is... What's that one where it's the gun where if it shoots it, I think it does 4, is it 4 damage it does to a unit? If it kills that unit, it does 2 damage to the enemy Nexus. That card rarely sees play, that's why I cannot remember what it costs or what it is. But I actually really like these 2 Bilgewater cards. It's actually really good and nice, interesting. I'm kind of liking the idea of Bone Skewer for, like, number one, it's cost, but number two, if there was something you really wanted to replay, it's just that you would need to have that with a little bit of draw potentially. And yeah, Harpoon, these are 2 really good cards which are alluding to most likely Pike is going to be coming to us sometime soon, but we kind of already knew that, but not in this set of cards, but in the next set of cards. So let's just quickly go on, see what old Freljord is going to be getting. So Freljord is getting Succumb to the Cold, which is frostbite an enemy, summon, so for 4 cost burst speed. It's another frostbite mechanic, which, let's face it, frostbite mechanics, we've got, like, you know, 3 cost, 1 cost, and 2 cost technically an Ice Veil Archer. And so now this is a 4 cost frostbite, as well as Ash. This is technically the turn that you'd be playing Ash as well on turn 4, but it's offering you that little extra kind of freeze, but with a little bit of troll, which is frozen troll synergy as well. So maybe you'd run this with Lysandra for that idea of at least sustaining the board with frostbite, so that you're not taking the damage and then boom, immediately getting at least like another frozen throw into the mix. As well as we've actually seen a number of shurima cards which are now going to be taking down advancing the countdown. So Frozen Throw is kind of a little bit more involved in that, so it's actually quite an interesting card to see coming in from there. Whether or not it's still play or not, we will see. Going on to the other Freljord card, Buried in Ice. So obliterate each enemy to obliterate each enemy to summon a Frozen Tomb, which is in its place. So Frozen Tomb is the 5 mana one, which basically is, so it's looking like it is like, in about speaking, Ruination and Singular Will, but this is the Freljord version of that, whereby it's going to be removing all enemies, bear in mind, because Singular Will and Ruination are both board dependent, whereas this is just your enemy side of the board. It's going to be putting all of those things into tombs, which aren't going to be activated for 2 turns, because the cooldown on the Frozen Tomb is 2, meaning that you're not only taking them out for this turn, you're taking them out for next turn as well. Then they're coming back the turn after. So actually, really good moves can be done here, because you could set yourself up for a big attack. Like, say that your opponent's got a big board, boom, Buried in Ice, they're out for this widget, they're out for the next turn. If it's your attack turn, you can immediately push forward, the same way that people use Undying with Ruination to wipe all the board. Your Undyings come back before your opponent's got time to develop. You attack forward those Undyings. It's a similar kind of thing, only for Freljord, which is very interesting to see, because it can be quite powerful, that kind of a move. And with some of the stuff that Freljord can definitely have, especially with these Frozen Throws, and not just that, we're just talking in general, say Sejuani, or even just going forward with Ash's damage, and that there's a lot of damage that can be built up, and all those Yetis forcing in like 5/5 damages from Yetis, whereby your opponent physically cannot block them. It's not bad. Like, this is actually quite a legitimate card, as well as the fact that if your opponent does have a full board and you do this and then it goes into your attack turn, the only way that your opponent can defend themselves if you were to develop in that play is to actually put over on top of one of their own units, so that they are, like, essentially killing that unit anyway type thing. So very nice. Is very interesting to see for Freljord to have. So as I said, we've got Ruination for Shadow Realms, we've got Singular Will for Ionia, and now this is Freljord's version of just like that. I guess you could say that Targon's got the 15 damage spell if you're running Celestials enough, that is like the big board wipe. I'm just talking about like big board wipes that the Riptide Rex, I guess, which are in that, but it's not as board wipey and reassured as the others. Was trying to think like a PNZ. I don't know whether or not you would consider what's the face, the one with all the spells. If you like draw 5 cards, if there's spells you're doing that much damage. Yet again, not as reliable as this, especially when you get some big health units. So it's actually good to see that there's, or like interesting to see that there's another region which has got that kind of stall tactic. And so going on to Shadow Isles now, let's see what Shadow Isles are being given. So they're being given the wings of the wave, actually the wings and the wave, sorry, which is a 1-mana 0/1. So play me as first wave or last wind, which then it gives you these 2 options. So it's an option card. You're either going to be playing this as first wave, which is yet again like this, when I'm summoned, summon prey, who we already know is a 0/1 as well. So it's summon 2 0/1s, or, and this is play as well, this isn't a summon effect because you have to make the decision between which one you want to choose, or it goes as the 1 mana, which is play me, kill an ally. So you choose it, you have to then also be killing an ally in order to get this free tempo swing of this, of last win. So obviously, like, you know, with building up prey, this is yet again synergy with Kindred and all these kind of slay mechanics, whereby you're trying to use like glimpse or butcher or whatever the hell to kill things that are going to be doing that. So it's yet again just another kind of what's the word, like a more, why can't I think of words right now that I'm trying to say, like in terms of just more sacrifices, I guess is the word. Potentially you could run this with They Who Endure. Like this could be like yet again, it's got the ways of not only summon itself, summons a prey, if you are using them as blockers or using them as resources to fuel, as I said, Glimpse Beyond or Butcher or whatever. It's like units that are going to be killed, which are then going to be giving you the ability to either draw or whatever the hell. It's quite a nice little thing to be able to then use that with Endure, because then, yeah, again, all those bodies are mounting up and increasing that stat, so there's a slight chance of that. But also, as I said, Kindred, this works really well with. This kind of works well with Nasus as well. Fresh, obviously, like, it's creating more units which you're going to be killing. So there is that, as well as that there is the tempo swing, where if instead of if you didn't want to go wide on the board, you could just go straight for killing another ally, which, yeah, again, could be a Curse Keeper, meaning that, so this is like kind of like Butcher, but it's costing you just that 1 cost rather than 0 cost to be able to kill the Curse Keeper and get that 4/3 on the board as well as a 3/3. So there's definitely like some nice synergies. I do like this Shadow Isles card, this inclusion of what it can do. It's really weird because the art style makes it look Freljord-ish, like to me personally, just by looking at it. But I guess I can see like, you know, the little kind of like embers of the glowing eyes of Shadow Isles. So that's these cards. Let's switch over. So now we're actually getting to see, so we're getting another rendition of Cythria, who, let's face it, she's already got 3 copies of her in the game. There's a fourth rendition of Cythria. 10 cost this one. She still is an elite. That's worthwhile noting, is the fact that she still is getting included in that elite class, but she is now going for a 10, which is, not only has she got challenge, but when I'm summoned, double other allies' power and health and grant them challenge. So 10/10 coming down at 10 cost with challenge, but not only that, doubling everyone else's power and health and then granting them challenge. This is like a big, like, last ditch swing if you've got nothing else going for you, just like this big 10/10. So it's kind of, in a manner of speaking, like the Scourge, only this one, instead of giving Overwhelm, it's just doubling. So it's not just giving +2/+2 and Overwhelm. This is doubling all other powers and healths, which, yeah, again, could involve Overwhelm, but could also just be like, this would immediately turn Garen into a 10/10 as well. Basically, that's like you need to look at these synergies, and the fact that she's an elite, you might run her in an elite deck. So potentially Jarvan, potentially Garen are like your main choices there, and you know, I kind of like it. It opens up options in that kind of like late game slot for Demacia if you can keep a board. That's the most important thing, because obviously it is doubling all other allies' health and whatnot. You could use this for the Fallen, I believe. So obviously if you're running a very elite centric deck, the ability of for the Fallen, every single time you're playing elite going down, so even if your board gets wiped at some point, you can still build a board and then play her. She's going to be doubling up all of those, because it'd be the vanguards, won't it? So they're 3/3, so they become 6/6s, giving them challenge as well. It's not too bad. Honestly, I do actually like the idea of it, and it is nice to see another rendition of Cythria looking devastating, of course. Our other Demacia card is yet again another elite card, 6 cost 3/3 with Scout. Which is then when you summon an elite, reduce my cost. So actually, yet again, elite synergy whereby starts off with a high cost, but it's got Scout. It's got Scout and will be going down in cost every single time that you play an elite. Therefore, meaning that you could get this. Actually, sorry, it's not a 3/3, it's a 3/5. Ignore me, a 3/5, but it's got Scout as well, which is very nice to have, especially with, like, you know, the elites. There's only one other elite that's got Scout, the guy who's got the barrier when he first comes down, the 2/2, I believe the 4 cost, from what I remember. So this has got the ability of getting that cost down. Scout unit elite. So yet again, elite synergy, focusing in on mono Demacia is what these two are kind of going for, I'm assuming. Then like Bannerman, buffs, and all the larky like that. There's definitely room for this. Whenever you see extra elites getting added, you always think, can I put them in somewhere? And this gives you the option for doing so. So really liking this, what I'm seeing here in terms of Demacia. Can't wait to actually attempt and see what it's like when doing so. Okay. There's a lot of cards going on with P&Z that I'm seeing here, including what looks like just a bunch of, like, when I was first looking at this card just now, just like glancing while talking about Cythria and whatnot, I glanced in the middle to see this like a McDonald's fry thing with a moustache. That's what I was seeing, but I'll get into that one in a minute. Let's go this way. So we've got the slump worker, who's an elusive, so 2 cost elusive when you summon another one of these. So yeah, again, like, you know, if you were to summon more, obliterate me and transform. So transform allied Viriges everywhere into this. So by doing this, you are changing. So if you have multiple copies, so yet again, running things such as counterfeit copy, running the parade card, which shuffle is the support shuffle, more copies, you basically can, all you've got to do is play this and then summon another one, and upon doing so, this will mean that they become these everywhere, the posse. So they become the slump worker posse, whereby they're an elusive 4/2, attack 1 damage, which is, so deal 1 damage to enemies. And yeah, so yeah, this is like the time bomb. These guys are going in elusively and doing 1 damage to all enemies, including the enemy nexus. So just that little damage going in elusively. And as I said, there's so many different ways of running like copies, in terms of like counterfeit copies. There's the workers and that. And if you were running so the parade is what I meant to say. But if you are running this with Zillion himself, you've also got the predict kind of stuff, so you know that you're going to be predicting in order to get this, so you can level this up and whatnot. So there's certain synergies that you can see there, but I'm loving this P&Z card already. So let's see what the other one is, whereby it is when you summon a tech, which is Heimer, everything to do with, so this is what's looking like a standard tech card on its own, because all the other tech cards come from Heimer. It's all of his bots are all called tech cards. So when you summon a tech, we share keywords. So yet again, so this goes down for 1 cost. Heimer then like comes down and literally everything. So the 0 cost one gives challenge. The 1 cost doesn't give anything. 2 cost gives tough. 3 cost gives fearsome. 4 cost gives overwhelm. 5 cost gives quick attack. 6 cost gives elusive. 7 cost gives barrier, and the 8 cost is just the big ass fear machine, which doesn't give any keywords. But the potential of using that with Heimer is actually quite nice. So that is what that is trying to say, is it's like a little extra thing, which if you were running mimic or give it all, or whatever the hell it is, which basically the mimic would be getting these off of this attacking forward with it, as well as you could use give it all to just give all the keywords that this unit could amount. The only one thing that I wish that this card had in as a little extra would be every single time that you do give this a keyword, so sharing keywords, but every single time that you played a tech, that this went up by just 1 health or 1 attack as well, so every single tech was actually buffing this unit. Because yeah, again, it's only going to stay as a 1 attack unit unless you put any kind of buffs on it, which would require another region, because other than the 4 cost / 2 cost card that is suit up, you're not really going to be changing that attack stat in P&Z on its own, so you'd need to get like something else to get in there to help buff this up. But I just wish that every single time, because then it would mean another incentive for by the way, I just want to point as well, this also could be used with production surge, because production surge does give you techs as well, so every single time one of those things is being summoned, if this is on the board, it's also gaining those keywords. I just wish that for every single time that a tech was summoned, this also gained +1/+1, and like a bit like the spells with assembly bot. I just feel like that would just be a little extra thing, because that it's only going to have that 1 attack slot, which as it can only be increased if you were to like run this in something else which gave buffs. So that'd be the one thing that I would say about this personally, as I just wish it had that little tiny bit extra, but I'm okay with it. So now we move on to Noxian, and Noxus has an 8 cost, which is meaning that they're competing with Farron in this thing. But if you have reputation, I cost 6, so they will go down in cost upon like obviously using reputation, which is dealing striking 4 times with 5 damage, and when I'm summoned, rally. So that could be really powerful. It costs 6. It's a body that comes down with it. Whether or not Shampoo might be just a better option, or whether or not you might just want to run like 1 copy of Katrina or something, or like a Katarina for this. I don't know whether or not that's going to be worthwhile. I will say he's got a magnificent moustache, if nothing else. The tactician has got a magnificent moustache. But other than that, I'm just trying to think, like, you know, is it going to be worth it? For 8 cost, yes, no, it is a correction. For 6 cost, it could be. It is a rally, but as I said, if you were going to use rally, wouldn't you go for the 5 cost? It doesn't have a body connected to the 5 cost. That's going to be the only thing that I would say there. So it doesn't have a keyword. It's not like it's got overwhelm or anything. So it's a lot to consider about putting that in your deck for a 6 cost / 8 cost, depending on how the situation goes. And obviously, if you top deck that before the late game when you haven't already done the strikes in, I don't know whether or not that's good enough for you to consider. But it is interesting. It's another rally for Noxus, which yet again said like the rallying stuff wings, that you can use that with Legion Emeralders, the lovely beardy men, to keep going forward. You can use it with battering ram to keep going forward. So the rally is good, and it does come with a body. I said it's just whether or not it's going to be worthwhile, or whether or not you would just run Shampoo in that deck. That's the thing you got to ask yourself, because its stats, it is a 4/5. I don't know. It's good and interesting. It's another form of rally, which is good. The one thing I would say is that it is getting down innovative why do I keep calling it innovative? It's timelines. Concurrent timelines. It's getting down cut timelines in terms of the 8 costs that are in there. It is making it a little bit more like it's getting the percentage-wise downs on some really good things for having this. Because obviously with timelines, it doesn't count as a sum, and it's transforming, so you wouldn't even get a rally off of that. You got to think about these things. It's very important. I know they're the things that people don't really care about, but I care about it. I care about what diluting my pools in timelines. But we've got another 1 cost coming in for Noxus, which is the Thrashing Snapper, which is when an enemy blocks me, give me +3 this round. So this is actually interesting. This is the first time that we've seen something like this. If by that I mean that this is when you are attacking, it's a de-incentive to block. By that I mean, like, literally, it's like, do I take the 2 damage, or do I throw this in front of this? Admittedly, with the 1 health stat, this doesn't look too bad. You're just like, okay, right, I'll just throw something. I was going to throw something that's got a terrible health stat and attack stat on my side anyway. It only attacks for 1 anyway, so I might as well throw it in front of the snapper to get rid of it. But if you were to actually increase this unit's health, so if you were to run this in, say, something with Targon maybe, or something along those lines, like the actual ability of increasing, plus bear in mind we are in Noxus, and Noxus does have a lot of things that can give overwhelm. So by that I mean you put this forward, somebody then blocks it. It's already getting +3, so it's already on a 5 attack stat line, which is, yet again, kind of helping reputations. Actually, it's not a bad include for reputation, because at some point it's going to have to be traded off, unless it's traded off by spells. It's one of those things whereby it is definitely going to be giving you something towards reputation, which is going to help with LeBlanc / the Tactician. But also, if you were to get this one's health up in a different region, it becomes a unit where every single time that they block it, it's going to be doing more damage. But also, let's get back to my original point before I just rambled on, that throwing something like Might or Overwhelm on top of this, so this is already going to be going up to 5 attack. If you threw Might on that, that'd be go up to 8 attack, and it will go over the top. So that's actually not as bad as it originally looks. Now, admittedly, that 1 health stat is very easily killable. But it depends on, obviously, I said, where you're running this and whether or not you can boost that health stat, whether or not it'd be worthwhile to you. But that's actually quite an interesting card. That's the first time we've seen something like that. I do actually like the idea of that, in that it will have additional stats if it's blocked, which I said, like, you know, it makes the most sense in Noxus, because it has that ability of, you could then add Overwhelm, therefore making it so that that's going to be doing increased damage. So potentially maybe Riven as well might get a little bit of action in here with the fragments of giving Overwhelm or Quick Attack. I mean, but to be fair, if they had Quick Attack, why the hell would your opponent be blocking them anyway? They'd be trying to damage them down with spells. But I do like the idea of this card. And in fact, I like the idea of all of these cards. All these cards have done, like, you know, they've all got flavour for their region, like, really well, in my opinion. So yes, some really good cards, like some really, like, thematic stuff between those regions. I would love to know what you've got to say about this, so please let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below, as well as the fact that, if you didn't know already, I do stream on Twitch, so shameless plug time for Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. You can catch me on Twitch on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, as well as the fact that, obviously, there's the Discord link down below if you want to get down there and talk about all these new cards, talk about different deck ideas, talk about ideas and strategies that can be done with these. But I'm loving this. I do love it whenever we get, like, the whole, like, different region cards, so we can, like have a feel about what's going on in each region. That's quite nice to see. Also, in that Discord, I will be most likely running next month I'm running a tournament where you could win yourself some of these lovely Twisted Fate cards with this stand, as well as a small cash prize. There will also be a secret prize in there for whoever comes with the memeiest lineup. So yet again, more reasons to get in that Discord. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time, and I said I can't wait to hear your thoughts on these. I'm loving these cards. I'm loving their flavour and whatnot, and I cannot wait to see the other champions and what cards lie in store for us tomorrow. So hopefully catch you tomorrow. I've always got Runeterra Content going on daily here, so if you want to check it out, please feel free to hit that subscribe button and whatnot, because I have got an end of year goal of hitting 5,000 subscribers / followers on Twitch. But honestly, thank you all so much for your support. I hope you have a great day, evening, night, wherever it is for you. Until next time, bye!
Flash of brilliance that could save me. Save me! That doesn't save me. Okay. Is there anything from you? Save me. That doesn't save me! Okay. Get rid of this and get rid of this. Find something that can save me.